I love how you call yourself the constructed enthusiast because you're so great at Battlegrounds, just so humble.
Well,
So humble.
I mean, I said I'm an enthusiast. My constructed rank has suffered a lot in preparation for this tournament.
Yeah,
The question though, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I mean, after I'm just so pumped after that last game. We had so many good plays and just getting to see Exodia Pirates in a tournament. I didn't think we would get to see that because it's not as much seen in the top level because there are so many tech options. But Zoinyu is apparently a perfectionist at the comp, so he played it so well. Got to see the Murlocs, got to see a ghost kill someone and 4 people die at the same time. Like, just beautiful game.
It's true, and we can also talk a little bit here, I guess, about the mini interviews we sort of did with our players. I think each of you and me taking our half of the work to reach out to the players and sort of see their thoughts on the game, their history in playing Battlegrounds. And I know you got to ask Zoinyu some questions.
Yeah, I did. So I spoke to Zoinyu asking him, how long have you played Battlegrounds and so what? And he's only been playing Battlegrounds for a year. He is from the auto battler realm, so he's played other auto battlers before. But it's so crazy to see how good he is at this game for only playing it for 1 year. I am quite thoroughly impressed. But his favorite comp is Pirate Exodia. Favorite minion, Bran. And favorite hero going with Bran is Jandis. So you love to hear it. So yeah, he seems like just such a humble guy. And I like how much he likes to be greedy, as he says. He gave a message to the viewers to say, always be greedy. And then his play style is, in fact, greedy. So very cute.
Very true. I love that we get to sort of bring our players closer to the viewers because, again, Battlegrounds is sort of new territory. Like you said, the auto battler realm, not quite the Shadow realm or the Nether realm, but I would like to live there as well. I'm sure there's some people here who are more familiar with Constructed and just kind of dipping their toes into Battlegrounds. Fear not, whether or not you are new to the scene or have been playing ever since beta, Lobby Legends is open for anyone to qualify through. Just make sure you can finish in the top 16 of ladder, which is a lot more difficult than it sounds. But my point stands. The dream is real for anybody. Yeah, qualification is open for the 3rd Lobby Legends. It has just closed for the 2nd Lobby Legends to be played out later on in the year. But speaking of 2nd, it is our 2nd lobby starting off. And am I having some deja vu?
I was like, is this the right film? Are we watching? But I'm looking at the other heroes and we have new heroes. So yeah, Educated Collins. Oh, and Zoinyu had the same hero as well. Okay, Saddle's messing with us on the back end to show us that Zoinyu and Educated Collins, who got 1st and 2nd place, are now on the same exact heroes for this game. Now, keep in mind that there are different minion types out. There are no dragons, no elementals, no mechs. But Zoinyu with the same start as last time with the imp.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
okay, I'm having a lot of deja vu.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. However, we do have, of course, some differences in the other heroes here. However, I believe it was either Summer or Bayou that was on one of the so-called safe heroes last game. And Summer here is on one of the safest heroes in the current meta, Arana. I feel she's gotten so much better recently, and it's because of these two, well, the left minion right here. Can you talk about what players like to do with Arana these days?
Yeah, so Rana used to be a Force Elemental hero, but now you can stay on Tier 1 and Force Murlocs. Well, you could do Tier 1, Tier 2. So you're getting as many of these Swamp Strikers as possible, and you're tripling into Honchos, the 3-2 Murloc that buffs health. So now this minion will get health buff from Honcho and get attack buff just from every time you play a Murloc. Decides to freeze for the pair of rock pools. So yeah, it's just another way to play Arana, and it's a lower tier way to play her, so it's a bit safer actually than going the elemental play.
That's right. And in this lobby, I feel that that has a lot of potential to secure a top 4 or better for summer. A lot of people ranking Arana even higher on their tier list than Daryl because she seems to be way more consistent with just getting those top placements done. And I actually am quite interested in that some people are still figuring out different ways to play the Arana Murlocs. I've heard that going to tier 4 can be a thing and just trying to cycle Primal Fins and then triple to Baron instead. I've seen that from very popular and top ladder players like XQN. But over here on Babofat's side, he has the opportunity to triple the Impulsive Trickster, which is one of the best minions to get while playing Mukla.
Yeah, because you get these early stats on the Trickster and get so much health, but tripled into a 2-drop, which we do not see often. So very safe play from Babofat, tripling into a 2-drop early as opposed to saving triples for a 4 or 5 or 6 drop.
Yeah, I think it's sort of one of the symptoms of that shop having 2 of the minion he wanted the 3rd copy of and no minion that seemed worth it for the 3 gold he would spend. Sometimes having too many of the good minion available feels bad here, but we can see Babofat very upset with that reaction of his big Trickster dying last, which means nothing gets the Death Rattle buff. Even just 2 points of health can be a big deal here. I'm sure our players are going to be completely on edge. But over here for Karamon, solid warrior curve going. However, with the 2 Swabbies played, he can already level this turn and he freezes 1 in the shop. It's kind of difficult to figure out how this should be played. What are you thinking?
Yeah, you could go for the double level because of the hero power, and that is what he's going to do. And keep in mind that the buddy for Lich Bossile has changed, and so you're not going to be staying on 1 to collect as many Wrathweavers as possible anymore. But at the same time, he hasn't found any Wrathweavers, so he's likely going to be playing this more out of using the economy of the hero more than playing a Wrathweaver demon style. Which will be fun to watch. And over here, Arana has also tripled into a 2-drop.
I mean, it is.
Oh yeah, she's playing the Murlocs. That's correct.
True. But even outside of that, it is just good to draw attention to that pattern, I feel, because people are thinking about tempo more and more here. Like you said, all those players who finished 4th through 7th last game probably going to be at each other's throats, clawing for that extra amount of points. But the start for Arana, pretty decent here. Misses, however, on these Honcho you were talking about, the 3-2 Murloc that buffs the health, which means that while he has a lot of attack, scaling of health is not going to be guaranteed here just yet. However, the buddy is now guaranteed, so that's going to be a lot of gold save for Arana, and I guess an active hero power very soon.
Yes, because you know, right now he's only seeing 3 minions per shop. So now he's going to have a free roll, get the hero power online quite early, and be able to find as many Swamp Strikers as possible. Over with Lich Bossile, we're going to see if Karamon decides to triple into a 4 or a 5 drop here. If he wants to go for a 5, he can do it. You just have to double sell because he has his hero power. Still no buddy though.
Yeah, and double sell would mean giving up a pair guaranteed, but I do think it's worth it. He gets out of the Tabby Cats here, which is pretty interesting. A lot of people argue about whether it's better to keep a Alley Cat pair or a Tabby Cat pair. Probably not super relevant in this instance now that he's on tier 4, but what do you think of these 5 drops?
I see a brand, I take a brand nowadays. A brand is just at a premium right now, though it isn't a lot of tempo, it's a lot of value. So you have to decide here, am I willing to lose out on the tempo? He's at 30 health, so if he takes 15 from someone, he's in the danger zone. But it is on 7 gold, so at this stage of the game, I would not expect to take 15, so I think it's safe to take this value play in Bran. I'm curious why he sold the Tabby Cats over the Alley Cats, though, because he would have had board space to triple the Tabby Cats, and now with a Bran, it could have been more Tabby Cat triples, but that was my only perspective of that turn.
Yeah, I find that a bit curious, too. Maybe he just thinks the Alley Cat is cuter, and I cannot blame him. A lot of
it
people
is some people's opinion.
Yeah, it is true. All right,
some opinions can be wrong.
Yeah, like whether or not Collins got scammed versus Pompado a while ago. Oof.
Big
10 here though.
but he gets his buddy with 4 gold in hand and a banana and a triple. So is going to be able to level to tier 4, will not be able to level to tier 5 because it costs 11 gold. So even with all this extra gold in hand, he can in no way, shape, or form get to 11 gold.
It is true. That is a side effect of the change to the tier 5 level. But oh my gosh, look at these selections. You say, I see a brand, take a brand. I'm sort of a see a hogger, take a hogger gamer.
Yeah, and I think I was going to say I think Collins is going to take the Mithrax here because it is so much tempo and value. You know, on stream, I think the fun play would be the Hogger for sure, but for a tournament, you got to take the Mithrax for so much tempo. It now gains 2/2 in stats for every different minion type on board, and we see he has 3, plus he has gold in hand, so he could get a 4th minion type on board, possibly 5th, because he can sell out of the Wrathweaver. And there is a Ground Shaker on the board along with a Bonker, so that is a lot of good synergy there. That's a new, or no, not a new minion type. He already has a Quillbore, but a Gem Generator. So it allows him to get a lot of tempo on board, which makes it safe for him to keep leveling.
Yeah, I definitely like the pickup on the Ground Shaker, and I think it's fine to get rid of the Wrathweaver at this point. He is really not getting any return on investment here. Just a little bit awkward that he would potentially have to, I was going to say, use a gold here for 2 gold because of the buddy just to get a bet going off. But instead, he sells a minion here, is fine playing down to 6, he says, just to make sure that he can keep as many coins in hand as possible.
It is a bit greedy, but he knows he's facing Maiev, and on this turn Maiev still hasn't tripled, so I think he feels safe. This is kind of Maev's last turn to face her before she pops off and does something crazy, and I think he's very much aware of that. He's counting the turns. He knows how strong Maiev is. So
hey, wait, Punpada's on the same hero too. I just realized.
Oh my gosh, that's Punpada. Our top 3 players all got the same heroes as last game, and they just went with it. They're like, it worked last game, is gonna work this game, and I'm wondering if we're gonna see the same results. Punpada down to 12 health last time. He was down to 13 health and still made top 3. Is that gonna happen again?
I don't know. I mean, Punpada was in a very similar spot, just going down to 8th early on in the game and then going for the big swing later on. We don't know how many triples he has saved in the shop, but we can take a look a bit later, perhaps.
I think Collins is, now. Yeah, Collins is thinking about maybe double leveling to tier 6, by the way. He has 5 gold in hand, and it's 10 gold to level to tier 6, and he is above 15 health, so he has the opportunity to double level into tier 6 on this turn. I'm curious if he will, but we'll find out soon. We see that Punpada is facing Arana. It has a triple that is on the board, but he's getting it next turn. Next turn he's getting 2 triples. So he is saying, I'm not going to take 12 damage because Arana is tier 2. She can't do that much damage to me, but I think she can actually do quite a bit.
Yeah, at this point,
she can do up to 16, but I don't think she will because she'll have a lot of 1-drops.
True. I mean, it's very difficult to say here because I feel like 12 is a low enough health that you might as well be at 1. At that point, you could die to most players, but specifically Arana, I think, lets Punpada sort of abuse and greed a little bit more the nature of Maiev. He turns down the Hyena pair for the immediate triple. He's greeting it out, maybe going for 2 6-drops later. It is very similar to what went down last game, but it might go wrong for him here. I am thinking that the high main is enough tempo combined with the Hyenas to survive, but we'll see if his greed can pay off here. That is a huge Swamp Striker to start off the board for Arana, but the rest of it, not too threatening.
And not too threatening at all. Doesn't get the full value from the Savannah, unfortunately, but still gonna have some good size Hyenas on board, so should be able to survive to next turn and get that double triple into 2 6-drops, I'm assuming. I think that's the position he's put himself in.
It still depends on how the trades go.
Yeah.
Wait.
Because the Arana's buddy's a 2.
Yeah, okay, he's fine. He's fine.
No worries at all. No qualms.
Yeah.
4 health and a dream. Silas has moved down. We know Max 7 key is on Silas and needs to have this big comeback. But still the only person in the danger zone is Punpada.
Yeah,
triple?
Okay.
Imp Mama is great because he needs to find tempo in order to make this comeback. So this Imp Mama with a Golden Soul Juggler is the tempo he is looking for. I think that is a good option. I think the second pick would have been hoping for a Fellbat for the scale, but takes the tempo pick out of Gas Coiler. we doing it again?
Wait, running it back again. He's got the Scally set up once again. First Eliza available. He also got a golden primal fin with, I guess he tripled into the seafood slinger at first and then got that to print some money with the primal fin, and now he has a very good Eliza setup, also probably getting the triple on the buddy next turn and facing Arana. So even if he loses, and I don't think he will, Zoinyu is going to have plenty of health to work with. This could turn out to be another first for him. I feel like there's
Scram Pirates again. And we see that Educated Cons did go up to tier 6, has still this sort of menagerie going with a reliance on beasts, which I like. That is some tempo. About to face off versus Ragnaros. Not sure if Ragnaros has their hero power online or their buddy yet, but they have quite a bit of health. So Ragnaros looking to be in a good spot, because Ragnaros can die quite early if they don't get their hero power online, which they have with Light Fang.
And a Hydra, which is one of the best units to get early with Ragnaros to really pay off on that scaling. The buddy Lucifron from Ragnaros means that you get 2 times effect on your end of turn abilities. So that's the hero power, which buffs left and right minions by +3/+3, and then the Light Fang as well for major scaling here. However, it is not going to be an overwhelming victory for the Rag. In fact, Collins gets the good trade at the end there, meaning he takes a minimal amount of damage against Bayou. That's huge because he has so much health on tier 6.
Yep, and we have another triple from Zoinyu from his buddy. Finds another seafood slinger, grabs that Khadgar for the Exodia. What he is looking for is as many Khadgars as possible. You can get 1 or 2 triples of Khadgars and then 1 triple of Baron. That is the end game for Exodia Pirates. The more Khadgars, the better. Oh, there's another one. Hi, friend.
Oh my goodness.
He still needs taunts to happen because right now his positioning, you know, things can get sniped. If Eliza gets sniped, he's in a really bad spot because his Khadgars are just such small minions in comparison. So the taunt is next that he really needs to focus on finding. Gonna buff up his Khadgars to hope they don't get scammed, putting both bananas on 1 in case a 1 attack minion attacks into it, and it would only do 3 damage, I guess.
Right. I mean, we've seen enough of this, I feel. Thank you, Sado. Let's check in with Babofat, who last we saw him had that huge Trickster and now has tripled into a 5-drop. We see Baby Crush is the pick here, the new minion added to replace, I suppose, the Rattler, which has gone down to tier 4 with
MIX now, yes.
removed entirely. This is a very cool setup with the Macaw able to get additional value from the Trickster. However, there is a caveat with the other Death Rattle of the Scallywag being available. So he only has a 50-50 to get the good proc from the Macaw. Do you think he's going to sell out of the Scally, or is it too valuable with the Peggy?
I think you put it first typically to make sure it attack first, but at the same time, he probably has read that he needs to play around Cleave, though he's not there. Yeah, that's the play around Cleave there. Yeah, I think he has to go for the 50-50 in this scenario, and that is one big scary Cleave coming from Bayou.
Ooh, he hits it.
Yes, hits the 50-50. Oh, and there it goes. So he'll hit this 50-50 again because it's now 100%.
That's a lot of health and sustainability on his minions. However, it's only the Imp that really has a threatening attack total on it. The rest of the board is essentially Battle Masters, so the Hydra can still potentially take a value trade if it gets to attack again into Peggy. Can't quite tell who's going to take the fight yet.
Yeah, he does need to get scaling with his attack. Like, the only thing he has now is the arm, which is, we see it's doing work. The minions are getting way more attack than they had previously. So this arm tech is quite impressive from Babofat.
Yeah, it's a very creative use of the taunt comp. Clearly didn't get super high rolls with his
Pato goes out with the Maiev.
That's gonna sting because he had the 3rd place finish last time, but averaged out with an 8th place. Doesn't put him in a great spot. But that is a ghoul to be picked up for Zoinyu here, which I think makes a lot of sense. Ragnaros definitely likes to take Divine Shields. In this instance, I don't think that Baiyu really had any, especially without mechs in, but it's still just a decent first minion here to make sure you can shave off any shields and just automatically have the board space to get the Scallies. Over on Summer's side, though, he is doing the Arana thing, which is scaling with Murlocs on tier 2. He's not a tier 4 Arana gamer, but it does make sense to pick up every free dealing gambler because of the buddy that just equals free rolls. The buddy reads every time you play a minion, make your next refresh cost 0, and the golden one does that twice. So as long as you are fast enough here, you can just get stats and stats and stats for every Murloc played, ideally Tad.
I think it's important to keep in mind he is passing by selfless heroes, so he's not looking to get the tech yet, and that and he might buy one now, but no, he's passing by selfless heroes, so still just looking strictly for stats in Murlocs.
It's the Tads towards the end of the turn, but the rope is burning. Sometimes Bob can be cruel to you like that. Can he get all of the stats in? Looks pretty good so far. At this point, you usually can't do the ideal thing of still taking every gambler. You just need to make sure you fill your board and play the important Murlocs. You get to check in on Max 7key's board. We haven't seen him for quite some time, but Silas is one of the heroes that can potentially go infinite when they get the golden buddy. However, he's on 8 health and not nearly enough stats to beat Mirana here, so it looks like Max is going to be next on the chopping block, which is very unfortunate because he did go out in 8th in the first game.
It's not going to be enough damage, though. He has 4 damage showing. So Max 7key going to stick around and hopefully get the ghost next turn. But no, because Zoinyu is out.
What?
On the Deathwing. Wow, this is a change of pace from last game. 2 of our top 3 players already out. Colin's still in the top 6, though.
All right, Sottle, show us who killed this Deathwing, who killed Zoinyu, because he was looking pretty good with the double Khadgar setup with the Scallywag. Maybe somebody with an early zap.
With an early cleave.
Baiyu getting revenge. Zoinyu is not going to be taking back-to-back victories, which is huge because for Baiyu and Summer, our 2 Chinese players, they are on top of the world right now, and Baiyu has tons of scaling still available just with the hero power. He's gone up to tier 6 now. What's the best way to go from here? Is it just roll for Amalgadons?
Yeah, it looks like you need to just start. He has this great menagerie going, so now it's time to get in some great Amalgadons, looking for Brand, looking for just the Divine Shield poison at this point. And then he'll be able to keep his cleave and his SI7 in the meantime. But we see over here on Max 7key doing a demon build. He is just trying to cycle as many ticket minions as possible because they each are all for free. You just buy them for free, and then eventually if you buy 3 of them, you're going to get a free minion on your tavern tier. So he's just trying to cycle as fast as possible. It is a really high APM hero right now.
Right.
So hopefully he can get all his turn done. Another Void Lord.
I also want to note he passed over a Wrathweaver triple, and the Weaver even had a ticket on it, so it looked in theory to be a very good buy for Max 7key. But this is one of the most difficult things to see in Battlegrounds is distribution of stats here. I think Max 7key is saying that 260 attack minions with a lot of health are better than one like giant minion here, possibly hedging around poison a little bit better and giving himself 2 real threats instead of one that's fragile against poison, which is absolutely the case here against Colin. However, I don't think that even keeping these separate is going to be enough to give Max 7key the survival here, because Collins just has the setup to get that poison on the Amalgadon as well. The entire board is poison now, and he is going to go out knocking out Max 7key.
He is excited for that win because now his Amalgadon with Divine Shield has poison. He had the technology to fix it, and he did so, knocking another player out, trying to hopefully get into top 4. It might be a top 5 situation. We'll find out soon. And unfortunately for Max 7key, he is again in the bottom 4.
Yeah, that is looking bad for him. It's truly the rest of the lobby starting to even it out a little bit because our bottom 7 and 8th player were both in the top 3 last lobby, but Max 7 Key didn't quite get enough to pull himself in the lead. So it's really about those 4 players that finished from 4th to 7th last time, trying to separate themselves from the pack. And also Collins with a chance to pull way ahead in the lead if he can just survive a bit longer. But over on Karamon's side here, he has a Bran and an Amalgadon, but it looks like he missed on the poison roll. Doesn't have a Sephin to try and fix it, but has a lot of stats, and facing Arana, unlikely to die next turn. Do you think he should take the Arana fight as the opportunity to level to 6?
Yeah, I'm not yeah, because Arana's still on tier 3, and she's going to start falling off with all that early stats she got because everyone's starting to catch up in stats to her. On this side of the board, we're not quite there yet, but if you know you're not going to beat her, you might as well just take the opportunity to level because you're just going to take that damage no matter what. And now he'll be able to find more Amalgadons and more Discovers because of the Slinger, and maybe get some Golden Primal Fin, something like that. So I do like this level play because, again, if you're not going to beat the player, just might as well level. And you're not going to take much damage either. So.
True. Positions to have pretty much all the weakest minions in the back except the high main, which because it has taunt on it is likely to die in the early game and then generate some weak minions. So this sort of like highest to lowest stats positioning I think makes a lot of sense against Arana when it's not elementals, and also when mechs are not in, no need for a bumper most of the time. It is still going to be a very convincing victory for the Arana. Simply too many stats here. Some are truly abusing the fact that Arana is just top of the meta right now. However, we do have Karamon still surviving here, 6 health. Didn't go up to tier 6, I don't think. He is just trying to secure a top 4, it looks like. Oh, wait, he did. Sorry, my bad.
So he gets the ghost this turn, which is a great turn to get it because he was able to, you know, greedily level versus Arana, and now he has a whole free turn versus a ghost. Now, what he doesn't know is how big the Wrathweavers are on Silas' side. Oh, and we see a Seafood Slinger in the shop along with Begurgle. So this is a lot of stats. He only has one Murloc on the board, so he's going to be a bit greedy with his Seafood Slinger.
I mean, I wanted to ask you about that because I feel there's 2 types of players. The ones who Seafood Slinger any buffing Murloc, and the ones who only go for the Slinger on Primal Fin or Amalgadon. What kind are you, or do you think it's situational?
Definitely situational, but I'm definitely the type to be greedy and want it on the Amalgadons and then realize that's not the play, and just to play it on every single one because you can find more Seafood Slingers because you're tripling and you'll probably just get another. So in a strong shell in the shop with all these taunts, you know, I'm a bit concerned our opponent Ghost isn't that weak.
I know.
But we do have the Deadly Spore in hand that we can play out here. So I'm not sure if Karamon knows how strong this ghost is.
I mean, if I were him, I would just remember the tale of last game where somebody died to a ghost on 8th place. I would pay respect here and play the Spore. But not only does it look like he's not playing it, he's holding double Slinger, and that is the worst feeling to die in hand with. So I hope he knows what he's doing. Let's see how strong the ghost was from Max 7 Key. We do remember the double 60 attack Wrathweavers, right?
Yep. And the poison.
Uh-oh. This could go wrong for Karamon, but actually the breakpoint on the buddy here for him is huge. It could potentially double trade the Weavers, and it did. That is a big, big deal.
Yeah, so he is safe versus the ghost. So Max 7 Key's ghost isn't going to kill anyone this time. Almost had two games in a row.
Yeah,
so I'm curious to
there.
Oh, looks like the Arana is finally starting to take much damage from Educated Collins. 24 damage, putting Summer down to 16, and it looks like Babofat is out. 5th place possibly? Yes, a sole 5th place there, dying. Oh, and there's the Amalgadon with a Seafood Slinger in hand. The dream.
Yeah, This is looking like a very good first place for Collins here. He has the setup, and we have entered a late game position where it's one of those poison Amalgadon battles, right? We have every single player except the Arana on tier 6, and Babafat, unfortunately for him, he ended up with a comp that really has no chance against poison, right? He was on the big trickster with Macaw type of comp, which just gives you health with the arm for a bit of attack, but no match versus poison. It's a terrible matchup. And we also have Summer on poison here, and because staying on tier 3 Arana means that you probably won't get divine shields on your minions unless you can find the triple selfless and preferably a Baron. He's gonna get outclassed by these other comps soon, which is why we say that Arana is a very consistent top 4 hero but rarely takes first place.
So we see on the other side of Educated Collins, he's about to face Caramon, who is starting to find these Amalgadons, but they don't have the poison yet. They are getting Divine Shield. One did get the Divine Shield. So you see him transitioning from this taunt comp into a poison comp. This is this late game strategy that we're going to see a lot more often nowadays. He's putting out as much poison as possible. Floats 5 gold, just doesn't have the time, but knows that putting the positioning in first is what matters. I want to also point out that there's no dragons in this game, and that is a big deal because there is the Prester Pyrospon that can shoot Divine Shields with Amalgadons to knock Divine Shields off Amalgadons. And so that's a tech option that our competitors aren't going to be able to have in this kind of situation of Amalgadons versus Amalgadons.
That's right. I think Collins simply has too many poisons here for Caramon to get out of this situation, but it was looking okay for Caramon in the sense where his Amalgadon that didn't have poison, at least it didn't have taunt on it as well, so it's pretty easy to activate with the Sephin, but simply the quantity of Amalgadons was too much on Collins' side. He's going to outclass the rest of the lobby very easily now, especially that Caramon's Amalgadons are added back into the pool for Collins to just snap up and make sure he can get the king of the poisons. There is sometimes a way to defeat giant Divine Shield poisons with a cleave, like Bayou has here, but do you think this is going to be enough?
Well, it's not positioned correctly to be enough because it's just gonna die. The thing with Ragnaros is you want to put, you know, your big minions far left, far right, so they get the scale. But unfortunately, if that goes directly into a Divine Shield Amalgadon, it's not gonna work. So one thing you can do is put a Ghoul in and not position it first. You can position it and then later and go down a minion to hope that so then your opponent attacks first, attacks into the Ghoul, and then your cleave will work. So that's kind of one tech option he has here, though I don't see him looking for Ghoul, or maybe he did and couldn't find it. But yeah, these Amalgadons with Divine Shield are going to be a bit scary.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Bayou too that it looks like he's been holding onto the selfless pair for quite some time, but never found the triple, which, you know, the power level of your comp goes up so much when you can hit the triple selfless and also try and get in there with a Baron. He is going to hedge a little bit with the Macaw to try and get additional Divine Shields, but again, this positioning is the toughest ever because he doesn't quite have the perfect knowledge of what Collins' board looks like. He's going to play for maximum poisonage alongside the cleaves and puts the Macaw first. It's not looking great, I want to say, but maybe there's a small percentage chance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that Cave Hydra is no longer in the front spot, obviously, but I mean, he has Divine Shields going, but Collins did place his plant Amalgadon in front to knock Divine Shields off, which is a good positioning. And oh, another good Divine Shield. It looks like Collins just has too much on his side.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh, especially with that trade that going to be a very clutch victory for Collins here. Actually, only one more minion here. It's kind of funny how when it comes down to a poison endgame, you can simply count how many bodies and shields are on board to get there. But crucially, both our players in this fight had 2 selflesses and no one hit the triple. And that, I feel, is largely because Summer has been hoarding the selflesses as a Rana. You're just even more likely to get it because you're on a lower tier. And he also has the Ghoul and quite enough attack on these 3 golden swamp strikers that they're effectively poison as well. It's kind of hard to figure out who's going to be in the lead here, but on tier 4, Summer doesn't have access to Baron Rivendare, which is a huge deal.
Yeah, he has the triple in hand, the monstrous macaw. So I think what he's doing here is just trying to find more triples before he sells out of his buddy. And he's going to replace the buddy with the Baron that his triple is going to give him in his brain.
Yeah. The Ghoul also can be tripled here just as effectively for another role at Baron Rivendare, which is... Oh, there it is! And it's going to replace the buddy almost certainly here. It's just not...
He can't triple the Ghoul, though. Oh, no, he can. Sorry, he doesn't have a triple Baron. In my mind, for a second, he had a triple Baron. If he had a triple Baron, he could not triple the Ghoul because it would knock off the Selfless hero and then the Macaw wouldn't work. So I panicked, but no, this is fine.
Yeah, this is huge. This can beat Collins, I feel, if the attack order goes well for him, because this first Ghoul from Summer is going to knock off the shields. But we see Collins did eventually hit the triple on the Selfless as well. And the first attack from the Amalgadon snipes the Selfless, so this Macaw from Summer is not going to get any more value. It still looks to be a close fight. No, now that I look at it, it is not. Collins just has more.
Yeah, because Collins has plants going on, and yeah, his minions are just so strong. So many divine shields to start, and then on top of that, so a win for Educated Collins, another top 2 for him, most likely securing himself into tomorrow. I need to see the point breakdown, and we can see here Educated Collins in first with 13 points, Summer with 8.5, Zoinu with 8, Bayou 7.5, Karaman 6.5. Babafat 5.5. So we see that like middle of the pack is all so close. I think because our top 2 players from last game, or top 3, 2 of them were in the bottom 2, we have a whole game next game.
That is true. I mean, Collins definitely has separated himself from the pack, but like you said, the 2nd place to 7th place sort of field here, they're only within 3.5 points of each other, so it could still go to anyone, these top 4 slots. It is very, very close. Right now, it does look to be the Americas and China show, all 4 of them taking up the top 4 slots. And I love that we get to see this last fight played out again, because we can talk a little bit more about our top 2 placers. Collins, we have sung his praises many times, but we can see that Summer is one of our Chinese players that I would imagine most of our viewers are not very familiar with, but thanks to Benij, our resident Chinese journalist of the esports scene in Hearthstone and also translator, we have some trivia. We hear that Summer is actually a very conservative player in terms of playstyle, and his favorite hero is Arana, who is exactly the hero that secured him the 2nd place spot.
Yeah, just excellent game all around. I'm glad we got to see so many Amalgadons. We played this game when we couldn't find them last. And I'm so happy that these bottom 4 players from last round turned it around this game, so that game 3 is going to be very intense.
Oh,
I think Collins is probably, safe. We're going to get some confirmation on that because I don't have the numbers in front of me. But between all the other players, we are going to have quite a big competition.
That's right, and it's going to be a big uphill climb for Max 7 Key in particular, one of our Europe representatives. I honestly don't know if there's mathematically still a chance here, but obviously the spotlight is on our 2nd to 7th place players at the moment. It is so close, neck and neck, could really be anyone's game. And because we're in the last game of the day for Lobby A, we still have, of course, 3 games to be played for Lobby B. I do expect that we're going to be seeing some slight changes in the meta as well. We're going to be seeing some players take bigger risks, maybe greedier heroes and greedier alliance, because maybe they've determined they absolutely need a first to make it through to tomorrow. Whereas some of the other players who are maybe currently sitting 3rd and 4th are thinking, oh, I just need another top 4, and then that'll likely get me to tomorrow. So I feel like Arana is going to be a very highly prioritized pick once again.
Yep, and we have to keep in mind that the players can see the other players' names, just like on the ladder. You can see who you're facing, and you can see who your competition is. Who do you need to knock out to make it? So you're going to see some tempo plays at certain parts of the mid game to try and knock out someone who's in less than 15 health, or trying to do as max damage as possible. So I think we're going to have some very interesting plays coming up in the next game.
Right. Just a reminder that you can tune into the perspective of some of our competitors who are streaming their own games here, and also tune into any of our many co-streamers from the community giving their own perspective and commentating their game. If you're tired of hearing me and SlissaCast, don't close the tab. Please keep viewing, but you can listen to some other co-streamers as well. I love that we are really turning Lobby Legends into a big community event. I feel it's really in line with the spirit of Battlegrounds, where it is 8 people to a game. Collins winning that second lobby is a huge deal. I feel like he is one of the biggest contributors to Battlegrounds on the global scene. He has been a caster. He has been in Hearthstone for quite some time, originally an arena player, and transitioned to being one of the most informative and hard-working Battlegrounds players. I'd love to see him getting the big result there. But also want to shout out to Bayu, who has, according to Benage, sort of similar to Collins also in China. Apparently, he also used to be a top arena player and at one point hit rank 1 in China with 2 accounts at the same time. So we do have sort of the analog to Collins in Bayu as well. And I wonder if it is going to be him taking down lobby number 3.
Yep, I'm really excited for this next lobby to see what happens.
Yep, and it is going to be the highest stakes lobby of the day, so of course we need our players to settle down a little bit, make sure they are completely focused. So one more break for Lobby A. Don't go anywhere. Right after this, the last game for Lobby A.